And now we are going to start with another talk. It's somehow a continuation of the previous one. So if you didn't understand a thing on the last talk, so you will have some troubles here. But I also have like a very small issue that I wanted to share, and is that my mom, she doesn't stop calling me, and I would like to send her a picture of why I'm quite busy right now. So if you can smile, you can make some noise, you can raise your hands or something. Yay! Yeah, we are dealing with IT industry, right? So not much enthusiasm. So we have Juarez with us. He will introduce himself, yes. And I'll leave you with him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It's a pleasure for me to be here today and present the solutions that we have at Oracle. My name is Juarez Barbosa Jr. I'm here to talk about a solid foundation for GenAI apps. It's a kind of a segue regarding the previous talk, but not as comprehensive as the previous one. I'll present some architectural blueprints, actually scenarios regarding LLM solutions with Java. So without further ado, let's get started. Yeah, this is my experience. I work for Oracle as a developer evangelist, over 20 years of experience in software engineering and developer relations. I'm coming from Dublin, Ireland, where I'm based, but I'm originally from Brazil. You can see here some of the companies that I've worked for in the past, some distinguished roles, and I'm a frequent speaker at events because that's what I do for a living, right? I'm a developer evangelist, so my role is to actually talk with developers, present the latest technologies, but also gather feedback and relay that to our engineering and product management teams. Okay? As I said, some of the conferences that I delivered talks, I'm always going to meetups, hackathons, we're running workshops, conferences, writing blog posts. But it's not a talk about my background, of course, so let's move forward, right? Yeah, this is the agenda for today. First, I want to just do a little bit of level set here, make sure that everyone is on the same page. Talk about AI and GenAI and synthetic content, then explore GenAI concepts and talk a little bit about AGI as well. After that, position OpenAI, which needs no introduction because everyone knows OpenAI and ChatGPT, right? And then I'll use a couple of Java frameworks because I'm a Java evangelist, of course, right? Spring AI, LangChain4j. We have a new version of the Oracle database, 23AI. So we do have vector support now. It's a vector store, pretty much the same as, I would say, most databases nowadays. And then I will just show a diagram because my focus here is on software architecture. So I'm not exploring things related to solutions architecture. Okay, or perhaps other things are related to DevOps, machine learning ops, and LLM ops or AI ops, okay? I'm going to present a diagram and just show you that actually it is more elaborate and there are other complex layers and things that you should pay attention to. And after that, we'll shift gears. I will try to show you many demos, see the things in action. I'll try to fit as many demos as I can. And just to mention here, the audience for this talk, software engineers, application developers, and business audiences as well, but not necessarily machine learning, deep learning engineers. What I want to mean is that you should not expect all the statistics, mathematics, and all those things regarding LLM models, all right? Yes, so let's talk about AI and GenAI. 2024 is the year of AI and GenAI. We know it, right? Everyone is talking about GenAI, all the big tech companies, academia, all the universities, research around the topic. But at the end of the day, generative AI, it is because we are generating content, right? It's all about generating synthetic content. And we can see here the city of Barcelona, represented in a kind of futuristic cyberpunk cityscape. I created, of course, these images with GenAI. So what I want to say is that at the end of the day, GenAI is, leveraging this synthetic content and all the opportunities around, what we can do with GenAI, okay, and the content that we are able to generate. So speaking of GenAI and some core concepts here, at the end of the day, pretty much the same algorithms that we are, used to as software engineers and machine learning, deep learning developers. But there's a special type of model called the transformer model. So in GPT, the T stands for transformer because that's the specialized model that is used, okay? And it has the capability of generating content, as I said. Content, again, text, images, videos. Possibly you've heard about Sora by OpenAI. It's impressive, but there are other players doing and delivering similar models as well, even the Chinese players. We can even generate code, possibly you are using all those code assistants. We have the Oracle Code Assistant, GitHub Copilot and Amazon Q, and many others. The generation itself usually is a result of an input prompt, okay? So there's an interaction, okay? You ask a question, and then you get the results. There's an entire new area called prompt engineering. At the end of the day, it is the way that you can frame your questions and elaborate them and optimize the way that you interact, with the model so you can get more meaningful results. Training data sets, of course, because there is no machine learning, deep learning, or AI without data. Data is the new oil, as we know. And on top of everything, of course, applications, because that's the focus of my talk. As I said, software architecture, software engineering, components and frameworks, and we can innovate on top of that. And it is transforming pretty much all the different business verticals, you name it, right? Like healthcare, financial services, energy and utilities, everything, right? And we can create the applications as we need them. And of course, some ethical issues related to GenAI as well, like misuse, the famous deepfakes with a photograph of you. People can now generate videos, and a little bit of bias and discrimination as well. That's why we have things like responsible AI, so we can control, the way that we deliver the solutions and the entire experience. Automation and job replacements, with this acceleration regarding GenAI, including things like robotics. So that's an issue, but it's too complicated to perhaps frame during this presentation here. And of course, cybersecurity as well, because, the rogue application developers, the hackers or the crackers, right? They like to use technology to achieve their goals. It's not that different with GenAI. But at the end of the day, AGI, artificial general intelligence, this is the ultimate goal, and that's why we have all the, big tech companies, as I said, academia, all the research around that, because they want to first put the models and the artificial intelligence solutions, and everything around that at the same level of us human beings, okay? Some areas are already there, like, I don't know, speech recognition, text translation, and so on, but what areas are still evolving, but that's the ultimate goal. And now you understand how we have the massive investments at the moment, and all the companies, promoting and enabling developers with APIs and SDKs and tools, all the technologies, models, of course, including the open source models. And that's nice, okay? Open source is always great. I love open source. And I talked about apps, but I want to highlight here, now is the perfect time for you to learn these technologies and innovate, because AI is also becoming a commodity, right? What I mean, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, if I wanted to do something with AI, I would have to train the model and possibly manage the entire architecture, right? The runtime environments, possibly deploy that to a data center. But now with cloud computing, the same thing that happened with cloud, okay, you don't have to have the upfront investment anymore, the CAPEX, and then, cope with depreciation and have all the technicians to, I would say, support your hardware, your networks, everything. With cloud, you just go create a subscription, you have an account, and then you can provision the services. We are reaching a point where AI is at the same level in terms of this simplicity, the encapsulation of all the complexity, and how fast you can actually implement your use cases. So it's just a great time to be a kind of software architect, software engineer, developer, and then focus on AI, right? Quick intro to OpenAI, but as I said, nobody needs an intro to OpenAI because we know ChatGPT and the company and all the innovations, the partnership with Microsoft and now Oracle as well. They are using our data centers, and the powerful NVIDIA GPUs that we have. They enabled, these I would say offering of NLP and all the models as a service. They encapsulated all this complexity, and that's fine. Regardless if you consider that PaaS platform as engineering or SaaS, it's a service for you. All the complexity is hidden. As I said, they have an API, a REST interface, so pretty much the same internet protocol, HTTP and possibly JSON as a data format as well. And the availability of scalable GPUs and infrastructure. That's nice because now, regarding a fraction of what would be needed for you to start from scratch, you can just go and leverage the best models. And they are also evolving quickly, and all the models, they keep improving. When you see a release, for example, from GPT 3.5 to GPT-4 or GPT-4o Omni, at the end of the day, some people think, oh no, this is just a kind of incremental version or a no release. No, if you compare the results when you interact with the models, they are really, really, improving and actually accelerating towards achieving better results, okay? Now, I want to talk about one framework with Java because that's the one that I have here regarding some of the demos, okay? Spring AI. Who's a Java developer here, please? Okay, wow, many developers. That's great. Okay, so Spring and Spring Boot, is the #1 framework regarding Java development. And with the Spring AI, under the same Spring framework umbrella, the same open source project, we have this specialized, module now that actually will implement, the usual use cases or scenarios that are required depending on this specific design pattern and what you want to achieve for GenAI with Java, right? That's great because, with the Spring framework, we are talking about the same component model, POJOs, annotations, all the simplicity that we get. I can do the same thing as an example. As you can see here, I can use the Spring AI to interact with OpenAI, Cohere, which is a partner of Oracle, also Google, Vertex, you name it, the open source models. But I don't have to work at the lowest level possible. As an example, if I have to interact with a REST API, I would need to create the HTTP request, from scratch at the lowest level possible, configure all the request headers, and then process the response and the response headers and so on. That is encapsulated by this framework, okay? A couple of interesting links here. I recommend that you should have a look if you are a Java developer, because some people think that at the moment GenAI and all the possibilities are available only for Python developers, as an example, but no, Java is there, and this framework, as you can see, at the level, at the version 1.0.0 milestone 2 now, okay? So it's reaching maturity, and it's really great, okay? And it can really allow you to build applications in a faster way. LangChain4j, which is an open source library as well, but I have to mention it because at the end of the day, if you compare it with the Spring AI, there's a little bit of overlap, but some areas LangChain4j at the moment is better. Some areas you can use Spring AI. I've seen projects where the software engineers are using both. And you can do the same things as Spring AI in terms of interacting with the GenAI providers or the OSS models, including Ulama if you want to run a model locally. And there's good integration, with Quarkus and Spring Boot as well. The link is here. One of the demos that I have with RAG, I use LangChain4j. You will see it in action as well. Okay, so it's worth mentioning here. Speaking of RAG now, why RAG? Of course, the previous talk, provided a comprehensive, overview and explanation of many different ways that you can actually implement RAG. But in a nutshell, RAG, and with the Oracle database, it will allow you actually to, in a nutshell, augment the domain and the context of an interaction, right? Because when we train those models, and training is kind of expensive operation, okay, because there are many things in terms of hardware resources involved, GPU processors, disk, gigabit networks, plenty of memory required. There's a format, actually, the ONAX format in the runtime, because in the past, if Oracle or Google or Microsoft decided to train a model, they would actually make that model available, but in a proprietary format. So they created ONAX to promote first interoperability regarding models, okay? And the second thing, actually, they created an entire ecosystem about ONAX as well, in all the tools and also startups and companies, and it's an ecosystem, right? But the interesting thing is that when you train a model and all the investments with the ONAX format, when you have to actually resume training a model, let's say I started training a model yesterday at 8 a.m. and I stop it today in the morning. If I wanted to, okay, I have this result here, so I want to actually stop here and resume tomorrow. Without the ONAX format and something they call a checkpoint, okay? It's a kind of a snapshot or a save point. You can then just cut that version and all the optimizations that you got, and you can save that, and then next day you can just resume on top of that. So what I'm saying is that you are not wasting your investments in terms of the hardware, all the investments, resource utilization, indirectly electricity as well, because it's extremely expensive, as I said, and that's why we only have at the moment the main players, really, I would say, progressing this technology and the achievements forward. Of course, they support the startups with cloud credits and so on, but they are still the main ones, mainly because the investment is actually required. But with RAG, when a company then trains a model and deploys the model, okay, to production, like OpenAI, let's say GPT-4, right? The model and the LLM, they don't follow the events, They don't know about recent timelines and recent events. So if I ask this LLM model about something that happened yesterday, possibly I will get an imprecise answer, okay? Because remember, with ONAX and the checkpoints, they just cut it, they deploy it, okay? But it is not actually being updated in real time. And that's why we need RAG, because with RAG, I can then just get the domain information that I have, okay? That can be something related to my company. I don't know if that's a telecom company. I can select a set of documents, PDF files, JSON files, anything, any data source, and I will ingest that, create the vector embeddings. So the next interaction, I can actually use those embeddings as part of my interaction, and then I start to get more meaningful answers, okay? So that's why RAG is important. And a couple of interesting blog posts, comprehensive ones by Oracle here as well. After the event, as I said, I'm a developer evangelist, so I'm totally friendly, approachable, so feel free to, approach me here during the conference or reach out to me on social media, and I'm more than happy to share the presentation with you if you want, okay? I have a blog on Medium as well. All the code samples and the demos and the GitHub repos are there. But in a nutshell, RAG, then, after this explanation, we can read unstructured data, right? PDF files or images or videos, whatever. We will convert that into tokens, okay? Vector, floating point vectors, okay? We call them embeddings. And then we have the vector store, like the Oracle Database 23 AI. And then after that, every time I interact with the LLM model, I can actually leverage, this augmented, context and scenario in terms of the business domain and the information to get more meaningful information. That's important because, if you are creating a chat, intelligent assistant for your company, possibly you have to augment the context of what you are trying to provide to your customers so they can really get a value out of your service, right? Yeah, I have to mention this one here, of course, because I work for Oracle. But over 300 major new features in Oracle Database 23 AI, so impossible for me to talk about them here. I have only these few minutes here to explore those, but I want to highlight AI for data features. Okay, so at the center here, you see something called AI vector search. Okay, and Oracle postponed a little bit the release of this database because we really wanted to provide developers something that is extremely useful, rock solid in terms of the implementation without the possible extensions. AI vector search is a feature because, as I said, we now have the new vector data type. It's a vector store, but Oracle also augmented the SQL language and created some new functions that even if you don't want to use a programming language like Python, Java, Golang, JavaScript, and all the APIs, LangChain4j, Spring AI, and so on, you can still do AI with the database and the SQL language alone because it has those special functions to calculate, the distance regarding vectors, and the different similarity searches that we can perform, okay? And why I'm talking about similarity searches? Because this is important. In the past, when we actually wanted to query a database, okay, I would run a SQL query, ANSI SQL query, right? And then my search key, I would compare, the keys that are actually part of my where clause against the database tables and the columns and the records that I have there, and then get, the actually matches as a result set. But with similarity search, AI vector search, and the vector store, that is actually more comprehensive because when I create embeddings, the so-called similarity search will allow me to actually search for entities that share the same, I would say, characteristics in terms of the entity itself. So it's a more comprehensive search, and that's why we call it similarity search. And it opens up, a world of possibilities in terms of what we can do with GenAI as well, right? You can see this QR code here. Okay, this is for the free version of this database for developers. Interestingly, it's the same upstream component that we have as part of Oracle Cloud. Okay, no changes. So there are two free versions for you as developers. You can download and install a standalone version on top of Linux, or you can get a container image and use Docker, Rancher, Podman, you name it, to run it. There's also VirtualBox image that you can use with VirtualBox as a VM, okay? And again, the very same version, all the features are there for you. Last one here before I start to show my demos, okay? This is an interesting reference architecture for GenAI that I got, okay? As I said, my focus here is on the software architecture layer of it, in terms of components and what you can do with source code. But I just want to highlight that, I will explore possibly a chat API interaction. We'll have a vector database and RAG scenarios as well. I'll show you the embeddings, and data sources that actually are ingested data, unstructured data PDF files, simple ones, but just to illustrate it. But I want to highlight that actually in terms of GenAI, if we think also about solutions architecture and machine learning ops, okay, there are other moving parts that you have to pay attention to, right? And also it depends on what you want to achieve and what is the task at hand regarding your team and your focus, things like creating the training pipelines, working with fine-tuning and so on. So although we are focusing on the software architecture and the layer at the software level in terms of components and an actual implementation as a demonstration, remember that you should consider other bits in case you want to approach GenAI and LLMs with a do-it-yourself approach, right? Otherwise, my recommendation, just go and use the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. We do happen to have a cloud service. It's number 4 now, by the way. Partnerships with Microsoft, with Google, with AWS, and now with OpenAI as well. They are using our cloud platform to train their models, okay, in partnership with Microsoft as well, which sponsored, OpenAI years ago, a couple of times, if you remember. But the Oracle Cloud also happens to have a GenAI service, the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure OCI GenAI SDK with open source models, Meta, Cohere, and others, okay? And now the flexibility that we announced during our flagship event in Las Vegas weeks ago, you can also have the flexibility of using open source models, okay? So you go, you pick the model that you want to use. It's as easy as that, right? So let's shift gears here and possibly have a look at some interesting demos, okay? So I want to show you a scenario first with Spring AI and OpenAI and no RAG, just a direct interaction with OpenAI, okay? And we'll see the quality of the responses that we'll get. After that, I will talk about the same scenario, but with RAG, okay? I will ingest a PDF file, and then we will run the prompts again and see what I can get. And then a comparison with LangChain4j, you will see that all the same scenarios and capabilities are there, but there are some different areas. And, both frameworks keep evolving, so you should actually, in case you want to implement GenAI with Java, you should consider those. And if I have time, I'll show you multimodal interactions, functional calling as well, and so on, okay? So let me, first thing, let me show you a simple scenario here. If my mouse, okay. Let's do something. I want to show you how to actually generate images. That's possibly the simplest GenAI interaction that we can have. Okay, I will show it running first. Okay, this is a Spring application, so no tricks here. I just want to actually have this HTTP GET request here, and I'll interact directly with OpenAI. Okay, there's no RAG, nothing here. This is just a direct interaction, and I'm asking it to create image of a Tesla car with the Spanish flag. Okay, so you can see the quality of this image, and as I said, this is GPT-4o. If I change it to GPT-4 or GPT 3.5, you will see that you get a completely different result, okay? I'm gonna run this request again just because I want to emphasize something. The interactions with the LLM models, they are non-deterministic. So in between calls, you can get completely different results, okay? So pay attention to that, okay? You will never possibly get the same result, depending on how you do it. I would have actually to come back here and do it again. And in terms of the implementation for this image generation, image gen here, no tricks here. You will see this is just a plain, let me, I'm gonna increase the font. Okay, you can see entry point with the Spring application, okay, the main method here, okay, no tricks here, business as usual. For the config component, the only thing I do, I retrieve my OpenAI API key because I'm interacting with the API, of course, right? I have that configured. In terms of the architecture, I have just the controller pattern here, okay, which is actually exposing my endpoints, right? So this is the resource and controller partner, and then I delegate that to a service, which effectively has the image client provided by Spring AI, as you can see here, okay? And then the interaction, it is as easy as that. I just target the specific model that I want to create, DALL-E 3, okay? I provide additional information about the properties for the image height and width in this case here. And then you can see with 5 or 6 lines of code, I can actually achieve that, right? It is as easy as that, just one method, okay? If I decide to do it from scratch without using Spring AI, of course, I can use the native Java HTTP client, but I would need to write, I don't know, 80, 100 lines of code, okay? So that's why, as usual, reusability in software architecture is always a good thing, right? It depends, right? There's no silver bullet in software, we know, but it is as easy as that to implement that first scenario, okay? All right, so let me close this one here. Stop this app. And next one, I want to show you a scenario with Spring AI and a direct interaction, okay? So this is a direct call to OpenAI with the Spring AI, of course, okay? But there's no RAG here. So there's no document ingestion, nothing. It is just a direct interaction. It's pretty much the same thing I did for image generation, but I'm asking a question about the Oracle database now and asking what is the Oracle database 23 AI, okay? Of course, I have to start the application because otherwise, it is GenAI, but it is not magic, right? So let's do the right thing here. Okay, so first time I run this application, there's a component to ingest the PDF file, create the tokens, create all the embeddings, everything. Of course, second time I run it, it doesn't happen. You can see that it is up and running here, but I can just go to the Oracle database first. If you see the DDL, SQL DDL that I have here, you'll see that I'm creating vector data, and the data type here is vector, okay? And this number here is actually the dimension that, that you get from a specific model, okay? So you get this information from the model, so you have to create the column with the same dimension, otherwise you will face some issues. But then I run this query here, as you can see, okay? I get vector data, and you can see several floating point vectors here, you know, the embeddings. That's effectively the transformation, you know, that happens when I ingest it. This PDF file here, okay, which is a technical brief that we have what is Oracle database, in Oracle database 23 AI for Java developers. Okay, so those are the embeddings, right? So provided that I have the application up and running now, I can first run this direct call with no RAG, okay? So there's no PDF involved yet. If I still have a connection, we are gonna get a response. Yes, you can see that I got a response, okay? OpenAI sent me this long text, But it is somehow incorrect, or because it is actually talking about the version 23C, 23 Cloud of the Oracle database, and that proves what I said. The LLMs, they don't know about recent events, okay? So that's why RAG will allow us to actually augment the business domain and get more meaningful answers, okay? So I'm gonna run the same query now, but with RAG now, okay? It's a different scenario, okay? So let me do this. Yeah, and for this one, I have a RAG. I ingested this PDF file, okay? I can show you the application here first. If we check source, this is, yes. Okay, so pretty much the same application here, entry point with the string. I load the configuration for the specific vector store, okay? A vector store, if we check the Spring documentation for vector databases, which, by the way, Spring documentation is really great, a rich documentation, you will see that actually I have to implement one interface, okay, called vector store, so I have to address this contract, enforced by this interface, and create my own implementation of it, and that's what I did with this Oracle database vector store. For this specific one, I implemented it myself, but now Oracle has contributed the official implementations for both Spring AI and LangChain4j to the open source community. So if I go to the official, as an example, to the official Spring page here and look for Oracle, you will see Oracle Vector Store. Okay, so it's available there for you. Super easy to actually configure, okay? And the other components, same thing. I have a controller, I have a service here. Some utilities, you can see the PDF data extractor, targeting as part of my class path the PDF file that I ingested to create those tokens, okay, that I presented to you, these tokens here, right? And possibly the last bit, you can see that the PDF is here as part of my class path, right? Oh, no. And yeah, let's run the query now, and then I can show you the config file, because that's an important one anyway. So now I have RAG, I have the PDF file with Spring AI with the database vector store, the implementation of that interface that I created, okay? I want to run a similarity search, and I'll actually call this question, ask this question now, what is Oracle Database 23 AI for Java developers, okay? Yeah, I still have the application running here. Thank you. And while okay, so in terms of the configuration, you can see that first I have the OpenAI API key here. I created that as an environment variable just because I don't want to disclose my key, right? And then I have two models here. The first model is the chat model. Okay, you can see GPT-4o here of Omni. And the second one is the embedding model. Okay, so I'm using two models here. One to create those vector embeddings, okay, and that's the embedding model. And the second one is the chat model, the one that I use when I interact with the LLM, okay? Other configurations here, just the JDBC connection to the database, Java database connectivity. I'm using a different connection pool here provided by Oracle, which is better by Hickory, which is the default connection pool for Spring. Okay, it works not only with the Oracle database, but with open source databases as well. And I enable virtual threads here just because I want my application to be as lightweight as possible. Okay, after that call, I got a result. Okay, so you can see that actually it is talking about 23 AI here, right? And let me see what I can get from here. I don't know if I have OJVM here. No, but if I look for something that is here, if I go to that PDF file and I run a search here, possibly you can see Easy Connect support for LDAP-S, right? So it is here. So you can see that actually now this interaction used the augmented business domain and the vector embeddings that I created, by ingesting the PDF file. So it's, at the end of the day, response with, in terms of being precise, it has good quality. It really aligns with what is the actual situation with this version of the database. Okay, so it is not an imprecise answer anymore. Okay, so the next demo that I have here is actually something called function calling. Okay, function calling is interesting. If you check the literature, you'll see that some people call it function calling, some people call it tools, okay? But it's pretty much the same thing. Function calling, because those interactions, okay, usually it's a request-response cycle. So my client, okay, if that's a Java application, Android, iOS application, or a standalone application, cron job, whatever, that is firing the request with the prompt. It is the client side is the active component, and the model is somehow passive. It will get my request, process it, and send a response. But with function calling, something happens, and that's interesting because it creates, the mechanisms to allow actually the model to call an external component. Okay, that can be a software component, API, whatever, and then get that response, and then include it as part of the final response, okay? So we have this bidirectional communication now, okay? So it is not just from the client calling the model and then getting the response. The model can also call an external component, okay? And that is powerful because at the end of the day, you can also achieve interesting things with this implementation. And I have an example with function calling here. What is it? Function calling, okay? So again, same entry point here. I have this controller, but you will see that actually I created this. Oh, this is terrible. What happened? Wow. Yeah. And I'm calling this get beers by country by the implemented as part of the beer service. Of course, this is just a simple example, so it's hard-coded here, but you will see that actually the model will call this external function and then embed it as part of that response, okay? For this one, I have to run this function calling application, so you can see it in action. And oh, okay, cool. And now I can just call it from the command line. I'm using a different tool here, just to show you that it is an actual HTTP request. And oh, okay, cool. What happened here? Okay, yeah. Possibly I have to do something here. Sorry, guys, it happens. Well, let's try again. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so yes, as you can see, beers manufactured by Brazil that are available to drink include Brahma and Original, and that's actually what I have here, okay? Last one is multimodality, okay? So in order to avoid any issues, let me just stop and recompile this one as well. I don't know what's happening here. And with multimodality, that's interesting because I can actually generate, as an example, audio. Okay, you'll see that I have just a simple speech controller here, and I'm using the speech model instead. Okay, you can see audio speech as part of Spring AI, OpenAI speech model here, right? For this one, in terms of the configuration file as well, I have the transcriptions and the speech models here, text-to-speech 1, okay? And that's what we will get with this interaction now. Okay, so yeah, it is ready here. Let me run it, and then we'll call also from the command line to create, let me change this to, I don't know, maybe GSAS. And then, let me just do something here, folks, sorry. Otherwise, I won't be able to find the file later. Okay, and now I can just call, you know, and there's a property to actually download the file. And if everything goes well, yes, I can do *mp3, and you can see the GSAS mp3 file here. I can actually try to play it. I'm not sure if that will work, but we can try. Yeah. Yeah, but of course, audio is not enabled, but it generated the file. Okay? Yeah, if you want to see it, I'll be here anyway. All right, guys, yes, those are these. By the way, these QR codes will point to the blog posts where you can get the source code and the entire explanation about how you can actually run those applications at your home if you want, okay? The first one with Spring AI, and the second one with LangChain4j, okay? All right, so yeah, all the technical refs are there for you as well. As I said, feel free to reach out to me on social media or during the conference here, and I'm happy to give you the link to the deck. And yes, one last thing, there is a new program by Oracle called GDP for Java, Global Developers Program for Java. Oracle will deliver sessions on December the 5th. If you want to take part in that, please send an email message to this person, kwasimensa@oracle.com. We are more than happy to accommodate as many Java developers as we can, okay? Oracle Live Labs, I have to mention this one. Free, 100% free workshops for you. Java, Golang, Python, JavaScript, DevOps, Cloud, GenAI, everything is available for you, okay? Great labs, self-led ones, okay? So have a look. Just go to developer.oracle.com/livelabs. And this is a program by Oracle, the Oracle ACE program. It's similar to Google GDE or Microsoft MVP, you know, just for distinguished community members. If you want, I can work with you to nominate you to become Oracle ACE, right? 3 different tiers here, Associate, Pro, and Director. It is nice because you will have a very interesting relationship with Oracle. Depending on the specific level, Oracle will invite you to participate in our internal events, flagship events, conferences like this one. Oracle possibly will sponsor your flights or your hotel stays. You know, it depends, but you know, plenty of opportunities. And from a technical standpoint, you get to know about the latest technologies. You have access to the internal product managers, engineers, plenty of opportunities, okay? I'm your go-to person in EMEA if you want to become an Oracle ACE, right? And last but not least here, we do happen to have a cloud. Some people don't know, but it's a very good one, by the way, okay? That's why we have, at the moment, we have as customers Uber, we have Zoom, we have OpenAI, we are partnering with Microsoft, and also recent announcements of partnerships with Google and AWS as well, because that's the cloud world, right? The multi-cloud world, okay? And there's actually a lifelong list of services that you can use, and you never pay for those, okay? As an example, you can get 2 instances of the Oracle Autonomous Database for free with 1 gigabyte of storage. That's the threshold. After that, of course, you have to pay, okay? But if you happen to have a side project or something interesting that you need a runtime environment, perhaps Oracle is just the perfect cloud platform for you, all right? That's it. That's my presentation. Once again, thank you very much for this opportunity to present here. An absolute pleasure, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll be here anyway, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Juarez. We have a couple of questions, and some of them were related to the demo, but obviously you have some links over there shared, so you can test these questions yourself. Thank you for participating. But we do have a question, like I think it is a theory-based one. How do you manage the embedding lifecycle version upgrade that's directly affecting the information already stored on the vector storage?
But I don't get it. Okay.
Does it make
sense? I don't know an answer for this question. Sorry. Yeah. I would have to ask someone else. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Good. And what are the most use cases GenAI in banking systems?
Oh, all the opportunities are there for you. As I said, you know, all the business verticals, when you look at the business processes, they compose into use cases and you have the functionalities, you know, regardless if that's an existing solution or, you know, one that you are building from scratch, there are plenty of opportunities for you to identify, you know, the functionalities and where you can actually infuse AI to augment and possibly improve the experience for your customers with GenAI. Yeah. Okay, but specific to a business vertical or another, I would need to connect you with the Oracle for Industries professionals at Oracle, because then they will be able to provide you more information about specific use cases or the specific business vertical that you want to target, okay?
Great. Thank you. Thank you again, Juarez.
Thank you so much. Thank you.